What is going on, guys? Disney Dan here. Welcome back into the channel and welcome to episode 27 of Disney Fiasco. Thank you guys so much for stopping by for another awesome episode of Disney Fiasco. This week has been an absolutely bananas crazy week. Lots and lots of stuff to talk about, and we'll soon get to that very shortly. Who we got in the chat? We have Main Street and Mickey. Please go check out Main Street and Mickey. Abby is really awesome. Former cast member. We used to actually work in the same year. It's pretty cool. So go check her out. Noah's here. Disney Streams are here. Disney World Adventures are here. Angie's here. Florida Fanatics are here. Kate Atwood is here. Sherry is here. Juan is here. Oh my goodness, everyone is here tonight. Everyone has just come over from our Disney Adventures. So big shout out to them. They just did an awesome stream. But before we even get started, I've got some very special guests. First and foremost, she's here again every week. My partner in crime, Meg from Mickey's Magic. How are you this week?
Hi, Dan. And I'm so excited to have Steve on here, too, when we're talking about something that, you know, we both love. And actually, I'm going to throw in some of my Lord of the Rings references in here, too, because we just can't help it, because all three of us love Lord of the Rings, too. But it's going to be a really fun stream. And, you know, obviously, we're paying tribute to Stan Lee once again, an amazing man, Imaginator. You know, I think we were in Jeff's stream the other night, and he was talking about how extraordinary like Stan Lee and Walt Disney were, you know, just sort of incomparable of their feat that they did and their impact and legacy. But very excited for this stream. So thanks for having me on once again.
And I've got to say a massive welcome to someone who's been so supportive of not just my channel, but in terms of this whole community. Just a channel who really goes out of his way to really help and make every people's chats and streams so positive, and that is Steve from Steve's World. So thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you, Dan, for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I am completely honored and humbled to be here. The fantastic community throughout the entire Disney community, and you know, I feel like you almost made it when you get on Disney Fiasco. That's just what it feels like. You mean something when you get to this show, and I'm honored to be here, and I thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Well, guys, if you haven't checked out Steve's World, Steve's channel, please go check it out. It's Steve's World on YouTube. If one of the moderators can put his channel in the chat, that'd be really awesome. Please go subscribe to his channel. Really awesome videos. But we actually had a different topic planned this week, but because of what happened earlier this week with the passing of Stan Lee, we thought it was only right to do our favorite or the best Marvel movies. Now, when we talk about the best Marvel movies, we talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. We're not going to talk about X-Men or the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans or anything like that. It's only really in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we got Stephanie from Corey Meets World is here. Hey, Stephanie, how's it going? Lots of other great people. Kay Atwood has joined us as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. And Charlotte's here as well. Awesome. Good to see you as well. But yeah, we decided to pick only the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, before we even get onto that, I just want to say a massive thank you to my previous my tribute to my Stan Lee live stream. I can't believe how many people watched this stream. It was absolutely incredible. Just reaching over 1,000 views just to pay tribute to Stan Lee. It was really just wonderful to have everybody here supporting that, and because he meant a lot to me. So we decided to really go out and really give this kind of like a second tribute of his favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Now, if you're new to Disney Fiasco, this is how the show works. We go around the table and talk about our favorite things, our best things about Disney. In this case, it's our Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, and we will discuss them in as a group. In the chat, please let us know what your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe film is, and we will get started right now. Now, Steve, as you are our special guest, we would really be delighted if you went first.
Okay, well, one of the ones I wanted to talk about tonight has got to possibly be on everybody's list just because of the importance to the Marvel world that it is the Avengers: The Infinity War. So it is just, there are 16 main characters that die in that movie, and I don't know how far we want to talk to give out spoilers or not. There are 16 main characters that in the Marvel universe that just disappear in that movie. They're dead. So Josh Brolin playing Thanos is quite amazing. They go to I think it was 7 different worlds in the movie, including Earth and Wakanda and Wakanda and some of those others. But it's just a great movie, and it's an important part of the Marvel history that's going to going forward. Like I said, it eliminated 16 main characters. So
yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this film is kind of like the first part of the big season finale. How I think of it is like all these Marvel films is kind of like an episode that we get, maybe 3 times a year or 2 times a year, and we finally have the first part of the season finale. Second part will be Avengers 4, whatever that title will be. And just like you said, so many heroes. Guys, we're gonna just want to put this out there. Spoilers are allowed in this stream because you've had enough time to go see the movie or buy the Blu-ray. So spoilers are going to If you haven't seen it, it's on you. Lots and lots of heroes supposedly die in this movie. And to be honest, it kind of opens the doors to something new and something better, because we actually, for now, we don't know what is going to happen. Everyone has a different theory. Everyone doesn't really know what is going to happen next, which is really exciting for us Marvel fans. Who's going to end up where? Why have we only got the original Avengers that are left alive, and all the new ones are somewhat dead, or they could be in the Soul Stone, or we don't know for sure. And the way that the Russo brothers managed to create a movie with all these characters, not just the Avengers, but with Guardians and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, I think they did a phenomenal job. And they put it was not really an Avengers film, it was more Thanos' film, which I really, really liked. So, and I'm in agreement with you, Steve. Infinity War was on my list. Meg?
Yeah, Infinity War was on my list as well. Like, no surprise. It was an amazing movie. It was a long movie, but I think to have all of our favorite superheroes in the same movie is incredible. And I think, I don't know, I've talked about it before, that Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, and have him included in what is sort of the Avengers is really awesome, but in a very untraditional sense, where everyone else was sort of just invited to be an Avenger, but he just, like Peter Parker, just sort of got there.
Yeah.
And it just happened. And if you guys haven't seen Infinity War, it's so, like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and AJ said something in the chat, it was like, no, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Like, oh, I still, like, my heart aches at that part. And I'm not a huge crier during movies, but like that part got me. I was crying because, like I said, Peter is my favorite, but gosh, I love to love villains. And Thanos is a bad guy. I mean, but it's all about like moral and ethical decisions. So it's not even like, hey, I'm just going to kill all these people because I want to. It's like he has a reason behind it, and he thinks that he's, in the right. So he doesn't think he's bad, which I think makes an even more interesting villain.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I just think, like, first of all, I think, like, I didn't like Thor 1 or 2, like Dark World, I did not like. But when Thor Ragnarok and like Infinity War came out, I was like, yes, Thor, I love you. You're awesome. Because he has so much sass. And I love Thor now. Yeah.
I mean, I was literally just about to say one of my favorite characters from that movie is Thor, because although he has kind of like his own separate adventure from the rest of the other team, it kind of all comes around in the end. And when he turns up in Wakanda, you get Bruce Banner like opening up the suit and going, "Oh, you're in trouble now." Like, you just know, like, like stuff is gonna go down now. Now that a god is here, like
Coming up.
you've got Thor, a god, who's just arrived on the battlefield with a new hammer. Like he's going to rip some people apart, and I think and also Thor's become more of that comedic character. I just love how all the time he calls Rocket Raccoon a rabbit.
Yes,
I just find that hysterical. And this movie is one of the funniest Marvel films in general because there's so many great one-liners. You've got Drax. You know, I was standing here for 30 minutes.
How long have you been standing there for?
And he was like, I can eat silently, and it is just a phenomenal film. And Steve, that is a brilliant pick. Steve, what is your favorite moment from that film?
Well, I kind of ironically, my favorite moment is the kind of the ending where you're trying to figure out, is your favorite going to survive? Is your favorite not going to survive? It's just I mean, the whole movie is visually stunning. It's incredible the amount of work that went into it, the amount of talent between the actors that went into it. And when you're sitting there at the end, over the course of that 5 minutes or so, and you're looking at all the different actors, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, are these people not going to be around anymore? Because we don't necessarily know if they're completely dead or not, but for all intents and purposes, they are. I mean, he snapped his fingers, killed half the population of the world, and these are the characters that are gone. And it is the most emotional Marvel movie for me by far, especially when this Meg's talking about Tom Holland, Spider-Man dying. He's my favorite Spider-Man. But I like the others. Don't get me wrong. He has that childlike innocence to him, and he just plays so well with Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. But that honestly, that point in that moment is probably my favorite because it's the most important to me. In that character dying off right there when they're on the rocks or the cliffs or whatever it was there, that was an incredible thing. And it just, again, the whole 16 people that died in that is going to change the course of the movies going forward. So that to me is my favorite part.
Awesome. Love it. Avengers Infinity War was definitely on my list. And moving on, Megan, what is your first on your list?
As we were just talking about Spider-Man, I have to put down my number one as Spider-Man Homecoming. I know AJ just said he hasn't seen it, so if you want to tune out this part, I don't want to give you a spoiler. But as Steve just said, I love all the other Spider-Man. Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero. Well, maybe besides Batman, but we're talking about Marvel here. And Tom Holland just brings that very awkward teenage quality to Peter Parker, which is what he's supposed to be. He's a teenager. He's in high school. He's awkward. He's nerdy. He just has all these qualities that a 28-year-old probably doesn't have, or a 29-year-old. However, I think Andrew Garfield was 28 and Tobey Maguire was 26 or something. I don't remember exactly how old they were, but he does bring this really wonderful quality to Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And I think just the way that he talks just resembles what I would see Spider-Man as through the comics. I don't know how you guys feel about when you're reading a book and you know that one day it might turn into a movie. I visualize what that character would be like and how they would talk. And that's how I see Spider-Man, is like through the eyes of Tom Holland. And I think he's so funny. And the whole script of Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, is so good. And then at the end, there was like that plot twist where I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And I like literally took a deep gasp. I was like, and it's like one of those movies that I turn on when I am sad or I'm like not feeling my best. And it's like, oh, yes, I just need a good laugh, because those characters are amazing. And I just love Spider-Man and his friend Karen. And I love that Tony Stark is like hitting on Aunt May throughout the whole story. It's like, hey, how's Aunt May doing? And it's just like so awkward but funny. And I love that he gets a new suit.
Yeah.
And I just can't say enough good things about Spider-Man Homecoming. So if you haven't seen it, you should totally see it.
We did a stream nearly a year ago, quite a long time ago. Crazy to think that we narrowed down our favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie without including Infinity War, and it came to a conclusion that Spider-Man Homecoming was the best, you know, in terms of votes by everybody in the chat at the time. I'll put the link in down below at the end of the stream. For me, Spider-Man Homecoming, it was also on my list. It is very different to the rest of the other Spider-Man movies that came before it. It went away from with great power comes great responsibility, Uncle Ben thing, which is great. I mean, the original Spider-Man did that very, very well. Spider-Man needed some proper, I think, really hard look R&R, some proper love. And I think they did a phenomenal job. They did the perfect casting. Tom Holland is absolutely perfect. For me, Tobey Maguire was a great Spider-Man, but not a great Peter Parker, in my opinion. I think Tobey Maguire looked way too old. Though he was quite geeky, he just didn't seem like a high school kid that Spider-Man should have been. And Andrew Garfield, although his Spider-Man was also quite good, his Peter Parker was not Peter Parker at all. Peter Parker is meant to be that nerd, that kid that you look out for. Whereas I think Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker was very much like, I'm going to ride a skateboard. I'm going to annoy the bully. Like, it's not what, you know, Peter Parker is meant to be. But Tom Holland does this perfectly. And the whole storyline, and you got a really compelling villain, which, you know, with Marvel, their villains aren't that strong. If you look back on a lot of them, whereas Michael Keaton as the Vulture is a very, very inspiring choice and really, really, really great. Spider-Man Homecoming for sure has to be on my list because it is the best incarnation of Spider-Man that has ever been on the big screen. People will say maybe Spider-Man 2, but I would say Spider-Man Homecoming is certainly my favorite out of all the Spider-Man movies. Steve, what do you think of Spider-Man Homecoming?
It's definitely, it would have been on my list had I tried to pick a few other things I didn't think other people were going to pick, but Spider-Man Homecoming for me is, and everybody has their own opinion and nobody's wrong or right, but Spider-Man Homecoming is by far my favorite Spider-Man. Tom Holland is fantastic in the movie. Even his down to his voice goes perfect for the quirky teenage kid that is trying to learn about himself, and it's a funny movie. It's a great movie. It done, you know, with the adventure and the action, and then like you said, Michael Keaton playing Vulture. Everybody knows Michael Keaton, so it's easy to relate with him. Some other roles, but he nailed the role of Vulture so well.
Yeah,
and just the mechanics that went behind him with his wings and everything. It's a great movie. Like I said, my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Awesome. Hey Rob, what's up? Power Channel. How's it going, my friend? Good to see you. Meg, as this was your pick, what is your favorite scene from Spider-Man Homecoming?
Oh, that's a hard one. You know, I really love, I was just watching some of it the other day, and I love the part that he gets stuck in that like holding facility with all the crates, and he's just chilling out with Karen, learning new stuff, talking with her. But then there's just so many other great parts. I don't know, it's so hard. I love like having Iron Man in there as well as like this father figure too. But I don't know. Everyone loves Robert Downey Jr. So
of course. Awesome. Cool. So before we get on to my pick, please make sure that we're hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and sharing out the stream, guys. Let's get some more people into the stream. We're doing such a great job, and I hope you guys are really enjoying the chat so far. We had some really great suggestions in the chat. We had Walt from Mouse Talk, who is a big Spider-Man fan and big Marvel fan. He says, Spider-Man 2 is my favorite. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was fantastic. The story was great. The movie had emotion and tons of action. I do really agree with that. I do love Spider-Man 2. If it wasn't for Spider-Man Homecoming, that would probably be my favorite as well. Lasercat's favorite is Doctor Strange, which we may or may not talk about later, but he is a phenomenal character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Awesome. So, and thank you, Noah, for sharing us out on Twitter, as well as Rob. Thank you so much. Well, it's my pick, my first pick, but unfortunately, 2 have already been taken from my list, so I've got to think of some new ones. So, my first one is very simple. After Thor: The Dark World, I think Marvel was trying to figure out where it was. Thor: The Dark World did not really impress. It wasn't, as great as some of the other Marvel films that came out before it. So Marvel needed a new direction, and they decided to bring some characters to the big screen that no one really ever heard of, and that was Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. In my opinion, this is like the second coming of Star Wars. It's a new kind of galaxy, like planet kind of adventure story. It is just such a created universe, just using the Guardians with lots of different characters from all different parts of the galaxy, using that pun right there. But just to see that balance between, this kind of almost Han Solo smuggler thief like guy in Star-Lord, and then you've got Gamora the assassin, Drax, who is just awesome. Like, Drax is like one of my favorite characters in the whole of Marvel. You got Rocket, as well as Groot, who are like the buddy cop. It goes back to those original buddy cop movies. And then you have other characters like Nebula and Ronan the Accuser, and you get your first real look at Thanos in that movie. Guardians of the Galaxy had a really great story, really understanding what the Infinity Stones are, get to know the Collector, and just how the movie is paced is amazing. James Gunn did a fantastic job with this movie. The soundtrack alone makes the movie. It's just, there's so much praise for Guardians of the Galaxy, and that really kind of changed the direction of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, making it a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun, and just in some ways, just a lot more enjoyable. So that's what I would pick as my first, would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Steve, what do we think of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I agree 100%, Dan. Guardians of the Galaxy is a great movie. The music, like you said, going back to what I would call oldies before I was born. So they have a lot of those nice classic songs in there. It is my niece's favorite, one of my niece's favorite Marvel movies. She loves Groot. And again, they took what I would consider an oddball cast. Who would have taken Dave Bautista from wrestling, from the WWE, thought he was a good actor, and made him Drax? Yeah. And it's just so good the way he does it. Like you said, he is funny. He's really funny. But yeah, with Bradley Cooper, I think, as Rocket, Vin Diesel plays Groot's voice. I mean, you take all those characters, and when you watch the movie, I don't see those characters in Rocket and Groot, and it's just really incredible how they did it. Another great story. Of course, it introduces us to Gamora, who is the daughter of Thanos, and which ties back to Infinity War. And it's just it's a really good movie. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, just in the cast alone, like you said, you have Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillian. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And Benicio del Toro. I mean, it just such a great, just one of those films that you could arguably say is almost perfect, because it's just everything about it was so much fun. Meg, Guardians.
Yeah, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was on, I had it on my honorable mentions. And I think, like you were saying, I wasn't a huge fan of Thor: The Dark World, and I think Guardians is really lighthearted in like an action movie sense. Like, just when you start the movie and you hear the music, it's just like, yes, I'm ready for this. And I really, really love all the music, as you said. I think the cast is phenomenal. Actually, I didn't even know that Bradley Cooper played Rocket until I looked up who was in the movie, and I was so surprised. Like, to have that versatility in your voice is unbelievable. And I've seen like video of him doing the voice acting in the booth, and like, I love when actors get into it and they're just like, yes, I'm gonna be this character, I am this character. And I really love Rocket. I think, like you were saying, Drax, I am really sarcastic in real life. Like, sometimes I am here too, but I don't know. Sometimes my family doesn't know when I'm joking or not, because most of the time my voice is very like monotone. And one of my friends at home was saying, like, you really are Drax. Like, you don't know if you're changing your tone and voice. And I thought that was so funny. But that moment though in Infinity War, who's just like, how long have you been standing there? It's like, I don't know, like a while, the whole time. And I think they're so funny, and it's just such a breath of fresh air to have those characters in there. And as you said, to have that introduction to Thanos, the Infinity Stones, that whole setup for Infinity War, I think. But I don't know, the music is really, that's the key point for me. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. And I have my two favorite scenes from that movie. The first one is when Rocket says, I need his prosthetic leg. And then when Star-Lord gets the prosthetic leg, he's just like, here you go. And it's like, oh, I didn't actually need his prosthetic leg. But what was it like, him just hobbling around? What would it be like during the prison escape? And then my other favorite is the quick cameo right at the end with Howard the Duck saying gross. I've been waiting for a Howard the Duck movie, like a proper good one, for such a long time. So it's good to see, those small minor characters in a big film like this. Hey, Jill, what is going on? It's good to see you. Awesome. So we are heading into round number 2. Make sure, guys, we're hitting that like button and subscribing to not just my channel, but some great channels here. We got Megan from Mickey's Magic, as well as Steve from Steve's World. So it's good to have him here too. And speaking of Steve's World, it's Steve's second pick. So where are we going to head to?
Okay, I'm going to throw a curveball into the mix here, because a lot of people don't know this. Is an actual Marvel, even though it was not produced by Marvel and it's not in this part of this Marvel Cinematic Universe, the story is Marvel, and Meg might enjoy this, and that's Big Hero 6.
So, oh my God, yes.
Yes. So Big Hero 6, and I did the Rob Fuzz mega tag with your favorite Disney movies, and I tried to get this movie in there, and it is one of my favorite Disney movies. But the way they did this movie, with the characters, and it's again one of the things that Marvel does, or that Disney especially does, they cast the perfect people for these roles. And this one with Don Hall and Chris Williams directing it, they have a lot of really good characters in Damon Wayans, who plays Wasabi. They've got James Cromwell, Alan Tudyk, Maya Rudolph. They have T.J. Miller, who plays Fred. I think he's extremely funny. Ryan Potter is Hero, and then Scott Adsit is Baymax, and which I would have never guessed that he was Baymax when I watched it. But this whole movie has such a great emotional story from start to finish, with especially concerning Tadashi, which is Hero's brother. Tadashi has that Catcher in the Rye feel about him, where he wants to save the children basically, and he's there for Hero. He is there to look out for Hero's well-being. Stops him from bot fighting, takes him to the university to learn, to his nerd school, and they it's just a great film from start to finish. So many one-liners from Baymax. I love the fist bump where he goes fa la la la. So it's just a really good movie. Disney did a great job with it. It tugs at your emotions again. It's a heartfelt story, and it's just another great cast of people with a really, really good story. So I thought we would talk about Big Hero 6.
Yeah, absolutely. And we discussed this just before the stream. It's the only time actually in Disney Fiasco history where we've actually just talked about one pick before the stream, because it's quite interesting, because we were talking about Marvel Cinematic Universe, though this doesn't count as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this movie is a Marvel movie that is under the Disney umbrella. So we couldn't choose things like X-Men or the original Spider-Mans or the Fantastic Four because it wasn't owned by Disney's Marvel. It was owned by Fox. But this movie is owned by Disney and it is a Marvel movie. So I was like, you know what? This movie, is a Marvel movie. And it absolutely is, despite it being animated, which is the only one that has been animated. It is a Marvel movie. It has a great villain. It has a great twist. It has a Stan Lee cameo, which does qualify it as a proper Marvel movie. And it just has a great message as well with great characters. So, I mean, absolutely. You have a great cast in there. If you guys haven't seen Big Hero 6, in some ways it has been kind of thrown under the rug a little bit because it came out just after Frozen. And obviously Frozen was that massive hit. So it's a shame that, Big Hero 6 doesn't get as much love as I think it deserves, although it does get quite a bit because Baymax is such a great character. I would love to see like a Big Hero 6 like crossover with Guardians or the Avengers. That'd be so much fun. Now, Megan, are you a Big Hero 6 fan?
What is Big Hero 6? I don't know. I feel like I talk about it a lot. I'm like very emotionally connected to Big Hero 6 on a different level. And Baymax is one of my favorite characters. And I have actually it was because of Corey that I had watched this movie and I hadn't seen it until just this year. And now I'm like so obsessed with it because of the story, because of all the love and the characters and just everything. Also, they have a Fall Out Boy song on there, and Fall Out Boy has always been one of my favorite bands too. So Fall Out Boy. And I just love Baymax. Like, who doesn't love Baymax? Welcome, Corey.
Hey, Corey. What's up, my friend?
Steve, I think that's an unbelievably out-of-the-box choice because I didn't even think about it. I was just thinking about, like, all of our big superheroes there, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Hulk, whatever. But Baymax is kind of his own superhero in his own right. And Hero is too, because he has the brains, almost like a small child like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He can just come up with this stuff, all the technology. He's an incredible inventor. And I just love Big Hero 6. I feel like we could talk about this in a whole entire stream, but I think that's a great pick.
Could you imagine the possibilities if you put Tony Stark, Rocket Raccoon, and Hiro Hamada in one room together with a bunch of like bits of tech?
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? That'd be amazing. Yeah, it's a great pick, absolutely, and absolutely deserves to be on this list. And Steve, obviously, the question is, what is your favorite scene from Big Hero 6?
Well, I actually have two. My favorite, the funniest moment for me, my favorite funny moment is when he first starts to lose air and he goes to the police station and they spend so much time playing this whole part out. And he's got 3 leaks in his arm after he blows it up. He puts one on, just really slow too. It's not like they don't speed it up, perfect frame rate. And then he puts a second one on. It gets a little higher pitched. And then when Hero tries to take him home, and he's trying to hide him from his aunt as he's getting him up the stairs. It's kind of like Baymax has had one too many. And
yeah.
He when he falls and goes to take that first step on the stairs and hits his face straight on the steps, and then he goes up and pets the kid. I think he calls the cat like this is a furry baby. Just the whole way he talks is really nice. The one-liners are great, and then the two emotional parts of it, the part where he keeps saying, Tadashi is here. And then Hero sees Tadashi playing on his belly, basically, which leads him to want to destroy Professor Callahan. When Hero, the way for an animated movie, the way Disney did the scene where he is telling Baymax to destroy Professor Callahan, everything in the background goes silent, extremely dramatic music comes up, and it's just like it's kind of a really emotional, tear-jerking moment where you don't want him to turn to the dark side. Basically, you don't want him to become evil, and but that moment in time is a big suspense thriller, and it's probably my favorite part of the movie.
Awesome. Love that pick. Lots of really great moments from that film. And you have that really funny scene, and then you do have that more intense, more emotional scene as well. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you for that amazing pick. Megan, round 2. Where are we going?
We are going to where it started. We're going to Iron Man. It is the first movie that encompassed the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And who doesn't love Iron Man? I mean, we have Tony Stark, and even though he's super arrogant and kind of a jerk sometimes, we can love him because we know that he's going to change during the movie. Because I don't know, I feel like women, we always want men to change or something like that. But I think just the storyline is incredible. I think what they did to start this whole universe with Iron Man is just unbelievable. I think the suit that they created is like crazy. And then just the fact that we learned so much about Tony along the way, and we get to learn about, his job and then sort of his own personal connection to what is going on that he doesn't know sort of behind his back. Yeah. And I love to see him connect with other people and then just to really, fight the bad guy. And we all love a good hero. And so I think just to start off with this whole, universe that, Marvel created, I think we really have to acknowledge Iron Man. And I know we were talking about this. Someone was asking, like, what is the best movie to start with? And you need to start with Iron Man because every single movie is based off of the movie prior to that. So if you start off with Iron Man and you just continue with all the Marvel movies, you will definitely be in a good, you'll be in good shape to learn about all the characters and everything.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember seeing this film for the first time, and it was in 2008. There was one other big superhero movie that did come out that same year, a little movie called The Dark Knight, which, in my opinion, is my favorite comic book movie of all time. Yep. But the thing is, what I loved about Iron Man was that was different about The Dark Knight and a lot of these modern Marvel, the later Marvel films, was that Iron Man had that sense of realism. Everything about Iron Man felt like, right, this is a world that we're living in right now. He was taken by the 6 rings or the 8 rings, whatever that terrorist group was called. You could tell that there was that really dark, realistic feeling to this Iron Man universe. We didn't know what this Marvel Cinematic Universe was going to be. We thought this might have been a one-off movie. I just loved the fact that the situation that Iron Man was in, the film Iron Man was in, it was like a retelling of what the world was at the time, what it was like, and what technology could potentially become in the right hands. And I just love that. I think before we got to outer space with the Guardians or Wakanda or Asgard, I just love the fact that it was set on Earth. Everything was very realistic. Everything was very just pure, and it just was a great summary of what this could have been. And I really enjoyed watching this movie. It is one of my favorites, absolutely. And Iron Man is a great pick. Great casting again. Robert Downey Jr., Jeff Bridges, Terrence Howard, but he didn't come back for any of the other movies. But who needs him? We've got who's the guy who plays War Machine now?
Oh my gosh, Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. So
oh my gosh, don't blank now on me, Megan.
So yeah. Mickey Mouse is joining the stream, and yes, tomorrow is Mickey Mouse's 90th birthday. So happy birthday to the big cheese, the mouse himself, Mickey Mouse. So yeah, great pick. Steve, Iron Man.
Yeah, you hit it on the nail, Dan. I was going to say the same thing. It's out of all the Marvel movies since then, it's probably the most, if you could say, realistic movie. That something that could have happened possibly to somebody. He doesn't have any kind of special superpowers or anything like that. Everything that happened to him is built into him through technology. and it is just a great movie. And some of the other Gwyneth Paltrow is in that movie as well. She plays Pepper, as well as Paul Bettany. I like how they made him the voice of Jarvis back then and followed him through the whole story to Vision as well. So yeah, Iron Man is where it all started. It's a great character or a great movie, and I am thrilled that Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. He just seems to fit that role. He just looks the part and acts the part. So yeah, Iron Man was on my honorable mentions as well.
Awesome. Wow, we are doing so good for time, and we're just about to finish round 2.
I'm excited now.
Yeah, it's crazy. My next pick is a film that came out last year. A film that I think very much helped a character a lot because he had no direction. A lot of people don't like this movie, but I think a lot of people love it more than they hate it, and that's Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Look, if you don't like Thor Ragnarok, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. It's not, typically what the original Thor was like, or Thor the Dark World. But in my opinion, this may not be your opinion at all. For me, Thor had no characterization after Age of Ultron. He literally went off and found a pool, a pool of woe thing, or just trying to set up Thor Ragnarok, which had nothing to do with Thor Ragnarok. Thor the Dark World was not a great movie in my opinion. It just didn't fit very well with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thor needed a reboot. He needed something about him that was different. He was very stale. And to get a director like Taika Waititi, who, if you've ever watched What We've Done in the Shadows, that is a phenomenal movie. And people like saying, Thor Ragnarok is too funny. It's not. It's more of a comedy. The whole Marvel Cinematic Universe is not just an action franchise. You have heist movies like Captain America: The Winter Soldier. You do have comedy movies like Ant-Man, like Thor Ragnarok, and you have sci-fi movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you have more of an action movie like Avengers and Age of Ultron. For me, I keep saying Thor the Dark World. Thor Ragnarok is exactly what Thor needed as a character. He needed to get rid of everything. Hammer, gone. Cape, gone. Hair, gone. Everything had to go because it just needed to happen. He needed a new identity. And you can't deny that the stuff that happened to him in Thor Ragnarok only made it better for him when he was in Avengers Infinity War. He wouldn't be as fun in Avengers Infinity War if it didn't happen in Thor Ragnarok. You had an amazing cast. You had Tom Hiddleston return as Loki. You had Hela, who was played by Kate Blanchett.
Yes.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett, who did a phenomenal job. And you had Korg, who was probably one of my favorite secondary characters in the whole of Marvel, played by Taika Waititi, the director. It just was really refreshing. It was very funny. It was definitely more of a comedy movie. But if you think that's very different to the other films, that's okay. Like, people are allowed to have their own opinions. But for me, Thor needed a change and Thor needed a reboot because he was getting stale. And to have a character that's very overpowered, like a god, you need to bring him back. You need to weaken him somehow. And that's what Thor Ragnarok did. And that's my opinion. And I know Walt in the chat does disagree a little bit. He goes, Thor Ragnarok felt too much like a sitcom to me. Wasn't a big fan. I don't like Thor as a comedian, just not how I see his character. That's okay. Everyone has different rights and different opinions. Hey Dean, what is up, my friend? How are you? Thank you so much for stopping by. Steve, what do you think of Thor Ragnarok?
I agree, Dan. Thor Ragnarok is my favorite Thor movie of all of them. It needed. I think Chris Hemsworth does a great job. He is good, but that movie, like you said, rebooted everything. The hair had to go. It just needed it. The hammer gone. He gets Stormbreaker. It was a great movie. They go back to their homeland of Asgard, and they brought out the story. That Taika Waititi, or I can't even say his name.
Taika Waititi, yeah.
His voice and the one-liners that he did with Thor were just great. I mean, I personally like the comedy in the movie. I think not only is it suspenseful, it has a good action movie, but the comedy is needed. And Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master was great. I mean, he was phenomenal. He's just a good actor, and he played that part so good. Visually too, I think it was the best of the Thor movies visually as well. It had more color, and it had a lot of brightness to it, and it was just a great movie. And if I did not choose Big Hero 6 in this, Thor Ragnarok would have been in my top 3 as well.
Yep. And I'm not saying that I don't dislike Thor or Thor the Dark World. I actually really like the first Thor movie. I felt like after Age of Ultron, something needed to change with Thor, because he needed something about him that needed changing. And actually, if you think about Thor Ragnarok and what it did for Infinity War, it did a lot. And actually, it did a lot good for Infinity War. And I don't think if Thor Ragnarok didn't happen, that would have affected Infinity War a lot. Meg, what do you think of Thor Ragnarok?
I feel like I have so much to say on this movie, because this is in one of my top picks too. And first of all, I'm definitely a comedy person. We watched Walt's like top 20 movies, and we can tell that you like serious action movies. But I like comedy. And first of all, before we even start getting into the comedy, I would like to give my Lord of the Rings actors a shout out, Cate Blanchett and Carl Urban, who are in Lord of the Rings, and they're in Thor Ragnarok. I also think that this is the funniest movie out of all of the Marvel movies. I think that is the best part about it. And like when Thor gets stuck on, I can't remember the planet name or the universe, whatever. It's like the garbage planet. And then he like gets thrown into like the gladiator ring, and then Bruce comes out and it's like, wait, oh my, I know that guy. Hey buddy, what's
my friend from work?
That's like one of my favorite parts. And he's just like, I know that guy. And then obviously Tom Hiddleston is like so awesome. And I think we all love Loki, but I love that he got a haircut. Like I think that he looks so much better with a haircut as a superhero. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I think overall that movie has so many good parts. Like it just makes me laugh. And also going back to the music, like even in the first scene, I think I'm just like, when I get really excited about movies, I talk really fast. And I just feel like I have so many things to say. My brain is like, and I think the music selection is awesome in this movie as well, similar to Guardians. I think it really makes it. And I love this movie. And I was just watching it earlier while I was eating dinner.
It's a great movie. And going back to my favorite thing is, if I ask myself what my favorite scenes from Thor Ragnarok would be, I think just anything with Korg in it, just it's amazing. Just like, hey man, just a rock, paper, scissors joke. I'm getting on that spaceship. Want to come? Like just anything like with Korg and his interaction with Thor. It's like it's not just a circle; it's a freaky circle. And then just like everything about it is great. And if you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, anything with Jeff Goldblum in it as well. I mean, Jeff Goldblum just plays Jeff Goldblum. He doesn't really play the Grand Master. He just plays himself because it's Jeff Goldblum. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Thor Ragnarok. And it plays Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin, going back to your old rock fans. Wow, we are really ahead of time. So what we are going to have to start wrapping up soon. We're going to do our third picks very, very quick, and then we'll do a recap on all of them. So, Steve, what is your third pick of the evening?
Okay, well, I couldn't pick one without my favorite superhero, and that is Captain America. So my favorite Captain America movie of all of them is Captain America Civil War. Okay. And the reason, I know it's not everybody's favorite by any means, but I think it's the most important outside of the Avenger movies due to the fact that you pit the good guys against the good guys. And it's all centered around Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. It's just, you know, Cap thinks he can change, and of course Tony Stark doesn't. So, and it completely splits the Avengers in half. And you know, you got Iron Man, War Machine, Black Panther, Vision, and Black Widow on one side, and then of course you got Cap, Bucky Barnes, because that's who he's trying to protect, and Falcon and Hawkeye, and Black. I'm missing one of them, the girl, but
Black Widow.
Black Widow. Thank you. Anyways, they put them on separate sides, and it's just an intense movie. It's also, I believe, where we first get to see Tom Holland as Spider-Man, if I'm correct. And it's just a great movie. It's important to the Marvel universe outside of the Avenger movies.
Yeah, with Captain America: Civil War, I would say apart from Star Wars: The Force Awakens, this was the first movie trailer I've ever seen that I actually screamed after I finished watching it. After I saw Spider-Man like wrap up Cap's arms and taking his shield, I was just like, holy, like it was just so good. Like everything about this movie, I think, was just in a way, you didn't know what side to go with. It was so successful. Like everyone was like either Team Cap or Team Stark. But the problem was when you watch the movie, you can understand both sides. Like there was no side that you couldn't really agree on, because either way, you know, there was one side to lean on, and you can see where the other one is coming from. And I just really enjoyed this movie. I think just in terms of the acting, this kind of was like the Russos' kind of maybe introduction before they did Infinity War, because this still had a lot of great characters in it, a lot of characters. So this was kind of like the dummy before they do the Infinity War. So yeah, Civil War was a great movie. Really, really enjoyed that. It's a really great pick. We're gonna have to swiftly move on. Meg, what is your third pick?
Actually, Captain America: Civil War was my next one, so I'm just gonna like quickly piggyback off of that, and then we could swiftly go over to you.
Sure.
Because there's one line, like obviously Steve just said that is our introduction to Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and that's my favorite. So I was so excited to see Spider-Man in another movie, in a new Marvel movie. And then there's the one line that he says, like when he's getting ready to fight. Also, just the introduction of Tom Holland as Spider-Man is amazing. But he's like, hey guys, have you ever seen that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back? It's like, God, Tony, how old is this kid? And I love that part. It makes me laugh every time. And I'm definitely, as we were saying, Team Steve always, but I'm definitely Team Stark because we have Spider-Man and I love Spider-Man. So it's just such a good movie. As Walt pointed out, it is the first time we see Spider-Man and Black Panther for the first time. And I think those are great introductions, but I'm going to move it over to you so we don't run out of time.
I was just thinking that quick terminal scene with Spider-Man and the Winter Soldier and Falcon. Oh, that little sequence is fantastic. And when Spider-Man goes, hey, I think you lost this, and he lobs this massive thing at the wall, and like you just see it come towards you, and Falcon's like, oh, like just amazing stuff.
Like before we switch on to another movie, like if you guys haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming, like the whole first section of that movie is like Tom Holland almost like live streaming his fight with Captain America, and it's the greatest thing. You see him like bringing his phone around, and I love that scene so much. It's so funny.
it's a really great film. Just a lot of great backstory to all these characters. You get Ant-Man in the movie, who has a really, ironically, a big role at the end of the movie, in the airport scene where he goes really, really big, and just the whole plan of Baron Zemo, who got in between these two kind of rival, like between these two teams. He's a really underrated villain, and I think he did such a great job turning, you know, friend against friend, and you know, just going back years and years, his plans worked really well. So, yeah, great pick, guys. I absolutely enjoyed that. I'm going to stay on the same kind of wavelength with you guys. I'm going to choose a character that appeared also for the first time in Captain America: Civil War, but this movie was Black Panther. This came out this year. This is the highest grossing Marvel film of all time in the United States. This grossed over 1.4 billion or something. It was incredible. I think Black Panther by far has to be mentioned on this list because of everyone really enjoyed him in Civil War, and they saw him in this movie, and just the backstory of Wakanda, the mystique of Wakanda. We wanted to know more about this place. You had an incredible villain by Michael B. Jordan. Oh my gosh, this guy is a real proper villain, because like Thanos, he thinks he's right. He thinks he knows that whatever he's doing, he is right. He is the rightful king of Wakanda. You have really incredible cast in this film as well, and just the fact that you can dream of a country in the middle of Africa that is so wealthy, that is more wealthy than every other city in the world, and you know, just the whole storyline was great. I really enjoyed Wakanda and exploring this new place, as well as the new characters and their traditions, and kind of that Lion King-esque mystique when they go under, that trance kind of thing. I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Wakanda and Black Panther. So what do you guys think of Black Panther?
I liked it. When I first watched it, I'll be honest with you, I did not enjoy it as much. But it's also the story I know the least about. But the more you watch it and the more you understand the story going along with it, that along with the incredible cast, and of course Martin Freeman, which I'm sure Meg knows all about him. But, another Lord of the Rings shout out. He's in the movie. Forrest Whitaker, Angela Bassett, all these good. But Michael B. Jordan absolutely nailed Killmonger.
Yeah,
it couldn't get any better than that. And again, another visual movie that just took us to another place. The scenery was incredible. I'm not even sure where they filmed it at, but the whole story and the way they do everything, though, it all came full circle into the Marvel world. And again, until I didn't know anything about Black Panther, and even when he showed up in Civil War, I didn't know much about him. But no, they did a really good job with the movie.
Yeah, Meg.
Yeah, I agree. I think the cast is wonderful. Visually, the movie is very appealing, and I think I'm more generally like I lean more towards heroes that don't necessarily have superpowers. Ironically, my favorite one is Spider-Man, but I think it gives them even more of a heroic quality because they're doing this without any special powers. And I think just the Black Panther is really cool. Like, who doesn't love that suit? Yeah. So I think it's a cool movie.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we are just about to wrap up. What we're going to do now, as normal, we are going to go quick fire round right through our list. We're going to list from 1 through to 5 or 6 or how many we've had in our honorable mentions, and quickly just go over them before we start doing plugs. So Steve, what was your number 1? And just continue right through your list and let everyone know what your list looked like.
Okay, my number 1 was Infinity War. I think it's the most important movie in the Marvel Universe going forward. And again, with the cast of characters, you get everybody in there. Number 2 was Baymax. It's a really, really good movie. And then number 3 was Winter Soldier. I'm sorry, not Winter Soldier. It was Civil War, Captain America: Civil War.
Nice.
And then my honorable mentions were Thor: Ragnarok and Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So all movies we talked about tonight.
Awesome pick. Absolutely love that. Meg?
Okay, I have actually 8 on my list, so I'm just going to go through really quick. Spider-Man: Homecoming, Iron Man, Infinity War, Thor: Ragnarok, Civil War, Spidey 2, even though I count that as a Marvel movie, Avengers, and like the first Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice. Awesome picks. Gonna have to disqualify Spider-Man 2. My picks were Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Infinity War, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, Black Panther, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Really, really great picks and really awesome picks in the chat. There are a lot of love from everybody in the chat. Just thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by. Really, really awesome. But that is episode 27 of Disney Fiasco in the books. just a massive thank you to Steve from Steve's World for joining us this week. If you guys haven't checked out Steve's channel, he does a really great job over there, and I would really highly recommend everybody on here to check out Steve's channel, and because he does such a great job supporting everybody in this community. So it was just really nice for him to join us this week. So thank you, Steve, for joining us.
Thank you, Dan. It's like I said, it's my honor to be on here. I couldn't believe it when you guys asked me to be on the show. So I really do appreciate you guys and everything that you do. You guys have the best show on TV and on YouTube TV. And you know, I know we all miss Corey. He's such a great guy, but I'm honored that you guys asked me to come and join you today.
Thank you so much. And if you have missed Corey, Meg, and I, you can actually go see us yesterday on Meg's channel, where Meg did a really awesome live stream about well, it was mostly about the Disney photography controversy. I like that. I like that title.
Other things too, but
yeah. But if you did miss the original Disney fiascos back together as a group, you can go check out the live stream that we did yesterday on Meg's channel, right on Mickey's Magic. So thank you so much for joining me once again, Meg.
Oh, Dan, thanks so much for always, like, this is always so much fun. And I just want to say thank you again to Steve. It's just, first of all, you are one of, I feel like, our biggest supporters. You have been here from day one. You come every single week. You're here the entire time. You are always so engaging with everyone. And we so appreciate everyone who does that, everyone who's here in the chat, but especially Steve, now that he's here, we just want to obviously highlight that because he's an amazing supporter and friend, and we're just so excited to have you here. And thank you everyone in the chat for always coming and supporting us. Like, you guys are, as Dan always says, you're not our subscribers, you're our friends. So I really appreciate everyone here every week, and thank you, Dan, always for setting this up and doing this. It's always so much fun.
Now, big announcement before people start leaving the chat. I just want to make a big announcement that next week, I will be taking a week off hosting the stream. We are going to be taking Disney Fiasco over to Megan's channel next week. So please, guys, remember, next week we will be on Megan's channel for Disney Fiasco, episode number 28, where Megan will be hosting.
Yes, I want to give you a break, Dan, because you do it every week. You've been doing it for half a year now.
So I'll be taking a break next week, and Megan will be hosting Disney Fiasco. So guys, make sure that we go and check Megan's. Make sure you're subscribed to Megan's channel so you know when we go back for Disney Fiasco. I will be doing a very quick live stream on that Saturday, telling everybody that we'll be going live on Megan's channel later that evening. So that is going to be for next week. Again, thank you guys so much in the chat. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, although we don't really do it in the UK. Happy Thanksgiving to all of my American Ohana, all my friends. We had some great people in the chat. We had Walter, Melissa, Angela was here. Rob Fuzz Power Channel was here. Our Disney Avengers, they did a really awesome, fun live stream earlier. I think they're going to go live again after this. I'm not too sure. But they are really awesome family who do really fun streams. Juan Rodriguez, Kay Atwood, Noah, Main Street and Mickey. Awesome. Awesome channel there, Main Street and Mickey. Sherry, awesome travel information and lover of Disney. Dole Whip Dad with his awesome trivia. Disney World Adventures with their amazing vlogs. Guys, if you haven't checked out all the guys in the chat, please do so, because we're all Ohana. We're all loving people. We are not subscribers. We are all our friends. So quick plugs. Please go check out all of the channels that are featured today. So Steve's World and Mickey's Magic. Please go check out my other channel, on a partner channel, Corey Fiasco. He will be back hopefully very soon. I know, he's not my other channel. I wish he was my other channel.
I know,
right? My other partner channel, Corey Fiasco. He is moving down to Florida at the end of the month, so he will be back soon. We are looking forward to seeing him. Another quick shout out to Dean from the Dreamers Empire, who was in here earlier. If he's still here, good to see you. TheLivePlace.com. The Live Places are great supporters of all our family-friendly live streams who host us every single week. So thank you to the Live Place. Please go check out that website. And other plugs. Just trying to think if there's anything else.
I'm like, what Noah said it before. I can't do math that fast, but I think I'm 50, like 6 or 7 away from 1K. So thank you so much, guys. Like, I'm so excited. I'm getting really close, and I think most of you come anyway, but I do my Monday live streams at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so come join me on those nights.
Yes, go check out both Steve's World and Mickey's Magic for awesome, great Disney videos. I think we are about there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Rest in peace, Stanley. We will thoroughly miss you, and I hope that the tribute to him in my last live stream and this very special episode of Disney Fiasco did it justice. So thank you. Rest in peace, Stanley. Guys, remember to live your life with a smile each and every day, and I'll see you guys real soon. Have a magical week, guys, and take care. Thank you, guys. Bye.